Okay, here we are again. This is Errol and Chris going over a mechanic that changed a couple of years ago, and wanted to show you the two different books so you can see what it is. And it's regarding this right here. This is on the current manual, the current WOA Mechanics Illustrated Manual. If you look on, I think this is page 98 or yeah 97. It looks like. Up at the top, administering officials. When a ball goes out of bounds on the sideline, of course, it's the trail's sideline. And we have the option to let the lead inbound over here on the sideline if it's free throw line or below. I usually don't have the lead do it unless it's about halfway down the lane line, maybe right in here, where I'm kind of circling. But let's say that's the case and the lead gets the ball. The question is in the old book, the mechanic was, zoom in there so we can see it. The mechanic was to just have the lead administer the whole thing, right? So the lead gets the ball, they bounce it, they raise their hand up, and they start counting a 5-second clock, and the trail would then mirror that. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Yeah, that's the way it used to be. In a way, a lot of people still do it.
Yeah, in fact, most people, at least in Washington, do it that way. But subtly, I didn't. Somebody pointed this out to me in a camp last summer, and they said, "Man, why are you not having a conversation and passing that off to the trail?" And I said, "Well, that's just not how we do it in Washington." And he gave me a funny look. And there's a little more to that story, but anyway, so I went back and looked, and sure enough, in the printed manual is exactly like I said it was. The lead takes that, administers, throw in, no problem, and then the trail mirrors that call, so that it's easy for the table to see. And so when I went and looked at the newest version of the manual, because the one I have was from 2017, I was kind of surprised. So let's get rid of this one. We can go over the writing here. It says the lead may administer the throw in by bouncing the ball up the sideline. If the lead administers a throw in, the trail will mirror the lead's chop. So in other words, the only role for the trail in that is to mirror the chop. What that does is it takes the lead out of their normal position, the normal natural primary coverage area, which is from the 3-point line into the key, right? Free throw line extended through inside the 3-point line, and then halfway up the key. Well, if they're facing this way, right? How can they watch their primary coverage area and the sideline and the thrower and everybody else? And so what college mechanics were is you just pass that out. All the lead does is bounce it to the player, and then the trail takes over everything from there, puts their hand up and does the 5 count. And so that's actually reflected in the new mechanics manual, which is kind of nice. It says unless the throw-in is going to be administered below the free throw line, then the lead may administer the throw-in. So the lead can bounce the ball, is what that's saying, up the sideline. If the lead administers the throw-in, the trail, right? The trail will now count and chop the clock. The lead will bounce and then release directly to officiate post play. Any thoughts or comments on that, Chris?
I credit to Alex. He showed me this from the college game, and what I did erroneously, I did it last year, but I then reversed it, and at the lead, I mirrored that trail chop, and that's incorrect. You're now, per the mechanics book, completely release it. You have no clock responsibility, you have no 5 count responsibility, and it puts you in a much better position for your primary.
Yeah, it gives the trail their true primary. Gives them
Exactly.
the line, right? It's their whole line all the way up and down. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, this makes perfect sense. And so an outline of that, if we go to here, let's share this other screen. Actually, let's do that in a second if we need to. Let's watch the clip here that you had from a game last night. I was all excited to get one for last night, but then we didn't have one, oddly enough. We had 2 or 3 in every game I've had so far, but now we've got a live one here from last night. This looks like at Prairie High School. Okay. So as you can see, there's the ball is right here on the right side of the screen. I'm just going to click play and you'll kind of see what happens, and let's watch it through and then we'll pause it a little bit down the road. Okay, ball out of bounds on the trail's sideline. Actually, it was on the C sideline, right? But they're becoming the new trail. Lead gets it, bounces it. Love how you turn to the key, and we got a chop at a clock start. Okay, pretty basic. I'm going to mute this so we don't have a bunch of sound going, so we can just talk right over it. So again, ball out of bounds, great. So the C calls that, trails over here, leads over here, trails on this side. Ball goes out of bounds. Notice it's not clear up here at the free throw line extended, right? Alex has stepped down a good step down. That's great mechanics there. Points the direction, and now everybody starts moving over. And then let's even slow it down a little bit. So often, what I'd like to see there as he throws it to him is, well, you know what I'm going to say here, Chris? You and
I
Alex
don't.
work together a lot, but
Yeah.
what I was told at the camp is, hey, have a little conversation with them. Just say, just a quick reminder. Hey, you got the clock at the 5 count. Just something
We actually
simple.
did. I said that to him. I as the guy who's giving it up, I have just personally made it part of my mechanics. I go, you've got clock and chop, and he nods. So because I remember I'm coming
Oh
off.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
coming
What?
off.
Go ahead.
My thought being, since I'm giving up and trusting my partner, trusting the system, I want to validate and make sure he's doing it. Because the biggest mistake would be you bounce it up, you walk away, your trail doesn't do anything, thinking that you've got it. Now we got nobody doing this, the clock. So I check in every time, no matter who my partner is.
All right. So let's watch that in a little bit slower motion. So he gives it to you, points to the spot, you repoint at it for the player, looking back at your area. Give it the bounce pass, and then watch what you do up here. That's great. So you're looking that way for a second. Make sure your partner's got it. He's got it. And you are right back in your area, on your primary coverage area. So not bad, not bad. All right. Any other thoughts on your position? And let's have you walk through it and tell me what your thoughts are on that. Want me to slow it down? Are you good?
No, I'm good. So obviously I'm a lead opposite the play, and then coming across. Alex is indicated, and watch. I just like that. We knew we were going to do this. Alex just grabs the ball and knows I'm coming,
Yeah.
and he designates the spot. I do it again just because I kind of anal retentive. I'm going to redesignate the spot. Check with my partners. One could argue that since the ball's still out, I probably could. I maybe closed down too much, but I definitely released the inbound play. Because in theory, you could say I should have been more open, but for the purposes of this inbound, it puts the crew in a much better position. It puts them in their correct positions and doesn't detract, pull the lead off with the inbound.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So that was pretty close to perfect positioning. I agree with you. You did the right thing. Just maybe a second or two too early by closing in a little too much. That was great.
Exactly. I think I
Yeah.
was just want to emphasize my release just for video purposes.
So for officials new to 3-man, it's kind of the same thing in 2-man, but in 3-man, this is exactly what Chris is talking about. So right there, he wants to stay wide because the ball's wide. You want to do what's called mirroring the ball, right? And so wait till that ball's inbound. So they're already walking 1, 2, 3 steps. So yeah,
Yeah, I should have stayed. I should have stayed. I should have just stayed where I was, considering for quote staying wide.
Yeah.
From where I bounced the ball and just turned my head and shoulders. I shouldn't have closed down. But
Yeah. Is this that big of a deal? Not really, but you want to be consistent at it. But especially if you've never done this with one of your partners, especially a WOA official, that this is new to them, because this was just in the mechanics manual that we don't pass out anymore. You have to actually go to the central hub to download it. So nobody knows this mechanic, but several of us are picking it up now and starting to do it correctly and more efficiently. And so stay wide with the ball on this play, for not just for proper mechanics, but to make sure that your partner has it, right? Because they may not understand what you're saying. Hey, you got the chop and the clock, right? They'll be like, what? So just make sure they have it. And if they don't, then you officiate it. And if that's the case, then of course, as the trail, instead of looking at their line, they should be looking into where the lead is. And then once it gets back to them, they're going to trade back to the normal primary coverage area. So be aware of that. Just be ready for that to happen, and let's make that switch effective. Any other thoughts or comments on that?
yep, we got it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
So you don't need the Ouija board when you got the video.
Right.